Welcome to the B-segment hatchback yardstick. Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be having a look at this 2012 Volkswagen Polo 1.6TDi Comfortline. There are tons of these hatchbacks on our roads even today, and I am on a mission to find out why. Congratulations to Dean Friedrich for correctly identifying the wheel of the Lamborghini Huracan, a very unique and interesting wheel design. Would you like to be mentioned in my next video? All you have to do is to make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and tell me what car this wheel design belongs to using the comment section below. Be sure to identify both the make and model. Let's see who knows most about cars. A really big thank you to the accommodating, thoughtful and helpful staff here at ASJ Motors. They have a huge selection of quality used cars located in two locations in the Overberg region. One is in the industrial area of Hermanus, the other is located on the main road of Verliesdorp. They are open for business, so be sure to check out their catalogue, link in the description box below. The Polo is a small B-segment hatchback from German manufacturer Volkswagen. The very first generation Polo was introduced all the way back in 1975 and was actually a rebadged Audi 50, which was quite similar to the size of the VW Golf. Power back then ranged from 26 to 45 kilowatt. The second generation was released in 1981. It was made available as a hatch, a sedan and a wagon. Interestingly, VW made a hyper-efficient petrol model called the Formel E. It had a very high top gear along with engine start-stop technology in the 80s. Impressive. More impressive was the high-performance G40 that produced a respectable 83 kilowatt and had a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time of 8.1 seconds. The third generation Polo was unveiled in 1994. It is worth noting that South Africa didn't receive the first three models of the Polo, as it would have eaten sales away of the City Golf. Instead of the third generation VW Polo, we got the rebadged version of the Seat Ibiza, which was called the Polo Player. The sedan version was known as the Polo Classic. Power came in the form of a 1.4, 1.6 and 1.8 cylinder petrol engine that produced between 62 and 86 kilowatt. The fourth generation was introduced in 2002. For the first time, South Africa received the same version of the Polo hatchback as the rest of the world. There was a major step up in quality as well as refinement. It started to become the more sophisticated, if less interesting B-segment hatch locally. This was also the first model in South Africa to receive diesel power plants, both a 1.4 and a 1.9 turbo diesel mill. This is also the basis for the first generation Polo Vivo, a car that did finally replace the VW City Golf. This is the fifth generation Polo with a 1.6 turbo diesel engine in mid-spec Comfortline form. Said engine produces a very good 77 kilowatt and 250 Newton meters of torque. Styling-wise, the Polo looks attractive and clean cut. It has aged very well considering that this design is 13 years old. The front end looks chiseled, if a bit derivative, and the rear reminds me a lot of the Polo Player from the 1990s. In profile, the rims seem a bit too small and the boot a tad too boxy, but as we will soon see, there is a very good reason for the latter. What is the Polo's interior like? Step inside and you'll immediately realize that this car epitomizes VW's design language. quality and simplicity. No wonder this car is so well regarded in the South African market. It feels very premium and upmarket from in here. Build quality is excellent. Everything feels so well put together. Fit and finish is impressive too, reminding you that VW understands attention to detail. Use of materials is alright. There is soft touch plastics on top of the dash, and the remaining plastics, while hard, feel solid and of good quality. The design is very bland though. It just feels like 50 shades of dark grey in here, and it's devoid of many swoops or edges. There are some chrome trim pieces, but not enough to lift it. Let's take a closer look though, starting with the door panel. Well, like the rest of the cabin, the design is very simplistic and build quality is excellent. All the windows are one touch up and down, and the switches themselves provide great dampening and feedback. The door's armrest is firmly padded and wrapped in fabric, and the door pockets are of a good size. You also get a metal door handle to remind you that this is a quality product. The best part of the doors though come to light when you operate them. They feel so heavy and solid, and they close with a very German, satisfying thud. The steering wheel is very similar to almost all other VW steering wheels of the time, and that's a great thing. We had a 2011 VW Passat CC, and it had almost the identical steering wheel the Polo has. The design is quite derivative, but it is sporty. Its rim is wrapped in soft leather, and the buttons are well laid out and they feel premium to use. The steering column is adjustable for rake and reach as well, so finding a comfortable driving position will not be a problem. The stalks might not feel quite as solid as some of its rivals, but they are really easy to understand. The same can be said about the dials. Big white digits on a matte black background with red needles make them extremely easy to read. You also get this beautiful brushed metal surrounds that frame them. In between the two dials, you'll find a monocolor blackout LCD drives information display. It communicates a partial trip computer, service information, current time, and a digital fuel gauge. No water temperature gauge though, which has become quite the pet peeve of mine. Every single car should have one. You need to know how hot your car is running. The stereo unit is easy to understand, and the standard fit sound system packs a decent punch, something I've recognized in almost all VWs I've reviewed so far. You also get physical shortcut buttons and a volume dial, so navigating menus is a breeze. The problem I have has to do with the screen. It is a bit too small. Also, you don't get mod cons like Bluetooth, Bluetooth audio, or a USB input. Now, this isn't really ideal, but it is understandable considering the Polo's age. The climate controls have nice detailing and they are extremely easy to understand, but I was expecting a bit more from Volkswagen, especially considering a Kia Rio from the same era has a much better system. A neat touch to this car though is a leather-wrapped gear lever and even a leather-wrapped handbrake, giving it an upmarket feel. Turning to the seats, they are on the firm side, but they provide excellent support, both laterally and vertically. The driver's seat is adjustable for height as well, so finding a comfortable driving position will not be a problem. The seat design is rather dull, but that was par for the course for the time. With the design out of the way, let's talk about the Polo's practicality, starting with storage solutions. Well, it performs very well. The dampened glove box is of a very big size. You get a tray area underneath the radio, another tray area underneath the climate controls, two very deep front cup holders, two rather narrow trays on either side of the handbrake, a third cup holder where the armrest would have been, and decently sized door pockets. You don't get an armrest though, nor do you get coin compartments integrated into the door's grab handle. Still, it isn't bad at all. Get in the back and things are alright. There's a decent amount of knee room, foot room, and headroom. What's more, because of the way the seats are placed, you have excellent under-thigh support. Storage solutions back here aren't that great though. The door pockets are too thin, and even though you get a pocket behind each front seat, you don't have any cup holders nor a center armrest. Now, I can forgive it for that considering its segment, but one thing I'm really struggling with is that the windows only go 2/3 of the way down, which I find quite surprising, especially considering VW's usual all or nothing mantra. The boot is a decent size, for the time at least, of 280 litres. You also get 2 grocery hooks and 4 tethering hooks. The rear seats fold almost flat in a 60-40 split, but if you don't have the false floor option added, this does result in quite a high ridge, and the boot lip is very high as well, so you have to lift heavy things over it, which isn't exactly ideal, but I can forgive it for that considering this is a B segment hatch. So far, so predictable, but impressive. What is the driving experience like? Starting with driving around town, the Polo performs very well. All-round visibility is excellent, and the controls are light and easy to use. Now, this is an older car, so you don't get rear park distance control or a reversing camera, but because the Polo is so small and the turning circle is so tight, parking isn't nearly that big of a chore as you might think. The engine is also a real gem. It has loads of mid-range torque, so you can do some proper lane weaving during rush hour traffic. There is some turbo lag lower down the rev range though, so making sure you're in the correct gear becomes quite important. Out on the twisties, and the Polo does alright. The steering is a bit too numb and lifeless, and there is a little bit of body roll in the corners. However, the engine feels punchy, the brakes feel strong, and the gearbox is quite fun to use. Even though the steering is on the numb side, it is very direct, which inspires some confidence. Out on the open road, and the Polo impresses for an older B-segment hatchback. Road noise and tire roar is present, with some wind noise accumulating at the door mirrors, but is by no means deafening. The seats are nice and comfortable, and the audio system does a great job of drowning out any unwanted noise. The engine also has great mid-range torque, which is perfect for overtaking should the opportunity arise. All in all, it's quite impressive. When it comes to reliability, I must be honest, I'm quite surprised. According to the What Car Owner Satisfaction Survey, the Polo finished 20th out of a possible 21, with common issues being air conditioning, DSG gearboxes, the engine start-stop system, as well as the infotainment system. Interestingly, VW as a brand placed 20th out of 30. Personally, I was expecting more. When it comes to its rivals, you have a whole host of vehicles to choose from. There is a Honda Jazz, which has better reliability and a more practical cabin, but interior quality is subpar. Then there is the Ford Fiesta, which is more reliable and more fun to drive, but less practical than the Polo. You also have the choice of the Hyundai i20. Great value, cheaper to buy than the Polo, but perceived build quality isn't as good as the Polos. Be sure to test drive all of them. There is sure to be a B-segment hatchback that can suit most of your needs. My, how things have changed over the last 10 years. In the early 2010s, it made complete sense why the Polo was so popular. It had a premium badge, a well-built interior, excellent resale values, and good diesel engines. It had quite the leg up quality-wise over its competitors too. But by today's standards, a dull interior and exterior counts against it, and since then the competition have caught up a bit. It doesn't mean that it will disappoint anyone who buys it though, not by any means. It is a fantastic car even by today's standards, and that's quite the feat. Well done, Volkswagen. Thank you so much for watching another one of my reviews. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like the video as it makes a world of difference to my channel. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to my channel and get notifications of upcoming videos. I have loads more lined up for you guys, so stay tuned. If you have a Polo of this vintage and would like to share your experiences of it, please use the comment section below. I would love to hear your story. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Until next time. Bye.